Tonight on SUTV News, a look into SHIP's interdisciplinary art program.
And we'll give you the latest on the Justin Smollett case.
All that and more right now.
Thanks for joining us on SUTV News. I'm Avery Quinn.
And I'm Isabella Marcelino. Last weekend, Shippensburg hosted an unusual and adorable show that was sure to quack you up. SUTV's Patrick Ramsdale has more.
It's the Popovich Comedy Pet Theater.
The Popovich Comedy Pet Theater, everybody!
This is a man who has done the impossible.
Gregory Popovich!
On Sunday, February 17th, Gregory Popovich and his Comedy Pet Theater came to the Luers Performing Arts Center for a night of fun and amazing animals. Gregory brought over 30 animals with him to Shippensburg, including Raoul the parrot and longtime star Sonny the cat. While he aimed to entertain the crowd with his physical comedy and talented pets, he also encouraged his audience to adopt pets from animal shelters. Every animal in his act was rescued and trained by Popovich himself.
And my main message from my show, Animals Are People Too, look audience, this is ordinary pets, but they are very talented. And if after my show someone from the audience visit local animal shelter to adopt pet, kitty or puppy, I feel like my message reached target.
Although the Popovich Comedy Pet Theater doesn't have any shows in Shippensburg in the near future, he hopes to return with a new star in his performance.
Next time when I came to this town, maybe you will see my future star will be some mini pig.
For SUTV News, I'm Patrick Ramsdale.
I mean, aren't those pets just the cutest? So if Popovich has inspired you to adopt a pet, visit Cumberland Valley Animal Shelter in Chambersburg, open 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. on weekdays and 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Saturday. The concert choir is hosting its first ever cabaret this Saturday. Come enjoy solos of many genres and donate towards the choir's trip to Ireland in May. If you don't, you can even vote for your favorite performer. The concert will be held in Old Main Chapel starting at 7 o'clock.
Valentine's Day may be over, but you still have a chance to go on a date. Ezra Lehman Library is hosting Blind Date with a Book. Throughout the month of February, Sarah Pike, Manager of Library Services, and Christy Fick, Archives and Special Collections Librarian, told SUTV that the idea came from local public libraries. Librarians handpicked books and wrapped them with brown paper so that all that is revealed is a short synopsis of the story. Books can be found by the entrance of the lower library. There are over 20 different books to choose from and staff picks located next to them. Students are checking them out quickly, so you don't want to be late for your date. Empire star Jussie Smollett was arrested today for filing a fake police report about being assaulted in what was first described as a hate crime. Recently discovered text messages suggest that Smollett asked two brothers he knew to stage an attack and told them what to say during the attack, including comments about MAGA. President Trump commented on Twitter saying that Smollett's MAGA comments were, quote, dangerous and racist, end quote. The text message also shows that the 36-year-old actor gave the brothers $100 for supplies for the event. Fox has made no comment about, made no statement on whether or not they are keeping Smollett on Empire. In the midst of another snowstorm, parts of PA are experiencing something far from a winter wonderland. Snow cleanup in Lehigh Valley was no small task, especially at the Lehigh Valley International Airport. CNN's Jamie Stover has more.
Snow cleanup at Lehigh Valley International Airport is no small feat.
We have about 340 lane miles of pavement.
For perspective, that's more than all of the pavement to clear in all of Allen Township. It's a lot.
It takes quite a bit of equipment.
Super high-end equipment. This bad boy has a giant sweeper and 2 large plows. These machines run between $500K and $1 million a pop. They have a purpose. Clearing tarmac is nothing like clearing a road. Plows can't just wipe snow and leave a mound behind.
We can't have snowbanks. It's very critical for wingtip and engine clearances. So a lot of times what we're doing is using those large capacity snow blowers to move snow further infield.
That blower can pump snow as far away as an entire football field. Snow and ice clearing, perhaps a little less high-tech, no less crucial at Lehigh Valley Health Network.
Our biggest priority is to make sure that our patients, our staff, and our visitors are safe. We want to make sure they're able to access the hospital because they're obviously here for a reason.
Cleanup here is non-stop, sometimes resalting areas every 20 minutes. They have a large crew, though.
Anywhere from 30 to 40 staff members out cleaning.
Jamie Stover, 69 News.
Teachers in California hit the picket lines this morning after their school board refused to give them a 12% raise. According to the Oakland Union, these Alameda County teachers have the lowest paying salaries, ranging from $46,000 to $85,000 a year. But what's more concerning is where the rest of the district's money is spent. In a recent fact-finding report, teachers found the district has tens of millions of dollars in surplus, not deficit, as previously told. But the district still claims it simply doesn't have enough money. So for now, the strike will continue until teachers' demands are met. Prosecutors and authorities say a U.S. Coast Guard lieutenant was allegedly planning a mass killing of prominent lawmakers and journalists. CNN's Jessica Snyder has the latest.
Court documents providing chilling details about a Coast Guard lieutenant who prosecutors say hoped to murder innocent civilians on a scale rarely seen in this country before being arrested in Maryland last week. 49-year-old Christopher Hasson is facing federal charges of illegal possession of a firearm and possession of a controlled substance. But prosecutors say these charges are just the tip of the iceberg, writing, "The defendant is a domestic terrorist bent on committing acts dangerous to human life that are intended to affect government conduct." Investigators say they found this hit list on Hasson's computer, containing names of prominent Democrats, including House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, and Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, as well as a number of 2020 Democratic candidates, including Senators Kamala Harris, Cory Booker, and Kirsten Gillibrand. The list also containing the names of several journalists from CNN and MSNBC. Federal agents say they found 15 firearms and more than 1,000 rounds of ammunition in Hasson's Maryland apartment, in addition to a stockpile of steroids the government says Hasson was using to increase his ability to conduct attacks. In emails outlined in court filings, Hasson calls himself a white nationalist and was inspired by a manifesto written by Anders Breivik, a Norwegian terrorist convicted of killing 77 people in 2011. Prosecutors say roughly a month before his arrest, Hasson Googled topics including, "Are Supreme Court justices protected?" "Where do most senators live in D.C.?" and "Civil war if Trump impeached."
Hasson made his first appearance in court earlier today.
We're bringing back Know Your SHIP, an easy way for students to understand the ins and outs and what's that about at SHIP. SUTV Nolan's Huffman has more.
I'm Nolan Hoffman. We are bringing back an older segment called Know Your SHIP, where we give you unique and fun stories surrounding Shippensburg University and what you need to know as a student. For this week's story, I explored what interdisciplinary arts is as a major here at Shippensburg and what kind of students would be a good fit for the program. Interdisciplinary arts is a major for students with diverse interests and skills who like to quote-unquote think outside the box, end quote. The program finally focuses on the arts, and you study a broad range of media, including painting, dance, music, theater, film, photography, and even creative writing. It's a major that allows students who are passionate about the arts to construct their own individual program of study. I talked to Shippensburg University professor Paris Pete about the unknown major, a professor with a big part in the interdisciplinary arts program. I asked him what kinds of students would be a good fit for this particular major, and he said, quote, "Typically, we get people who are interested in visual arts, theater, and sometimes they'll blend other interests together, but still find a connection between these different areas of study," end quote. I also wanted to know how exactly the interdisciplinary arts department plans to get more students involved in the major, since a lot of students around campus are not exactly aware of this major. Pete said, quote, "I would like to provide more curricular structure so that students will have a better understanding as they look at the program exactly the kinds of courses they would need to take and lead them in a particular direction," end quote. By going to this major, the kinds of jobs students can get include performing arts, art education, media production services, and even government and community arts administration. For more information on interdisciplinary arts and how you can get involved, please contact the English department by phone at 717-477-1135 or at email at jmprez@ship.edu.
When we come back in world news, a change to the canon law in the Vatican.
And a South American border is closed once again. The Slate is now delivering at many new locations. Brianne Shekels has more on next week's issue of the Slate.
Coming up in the Slate on Tuesday, we will cover both the swimming and track and field national championships, as well as the SU Concert Choir's Cabaret for student performers to pick and perform whatever they like. Other stories include a feature on Alfredo's Pizza and a feature on Don Philpott's American Sign Language class this semester. Be sure to pick up the next edition of the Slate on Tuesday in newsstands in the Cub, academic buildings, and on dormitory residents' desks. You can also visit theslateonline.com for news 24/7.
A sunscreen ban heats up in Key West. SUTV's Paige Ahrensmeyer has this week's world news. Paige?
A total closure of the border between Colombia and Venezuela. That is what Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro says he's contemplating today. Every day, it's reported thousands of Venezuelans cross the border between the two nations to purchase basic supplies, such as food and medications that are either unavailable or too expensive in their country. This is not the first time Maduro contemplated this decision. In 2015, he closed the border between Colombia and Venezuela for nearly a year. When it reopened in July of 2016, the Colombian government reported at least 35,000 Venezuelans crossed the border on just the first day of its opening. Today, the Vatican reported Pope Francis is working on the raising the marriage age in canon law. Originally 14 years old for girls and 16 for boys in the Catholic Church, the new age will be 16 for both sexes. This is part of the Pope's 21-point plan to battle sexual abuse by clergy members. His other points include changes in investigation, requiring guilty members to leave ministry, and psychological tests for potential priests. A heart-stopping experience for a group of divers in Florida. They came face to face with a great white shark while diving 60 feet under the surface. 3 miles off the Jupiter Inlet, this GoPro video shows the friends getting close to the great white as it was making big loops around a shipwreck and cobia. This same shark was spotted and tagged 7 years ago by a group of Massachusetts researchers. The Florida divers decided to give the friendly face the name Salty. And finally today, our health raid. The debate, protecting our oceans or our bodies. Key West is the latest city to ban certain sunscreens with chemicals that could harm coral reefs. It won't go into effect until 2021, but the move is already ringing alarm bells in the medical community. The American Academy of Dermatologists is calling on Key West to reconsider. But chemicals in sunscreen, especially oxybenzone, are dangerous to marine life.
It's not just coral, it is also toxic to fish. It's toxic to algae. Oxybenzone is almost like an herbicide.
UVA rays from the sun penetrate deeper layers of skin and are linked to melanoma. UVB rays are damaging our outer layers and causing sunburn. While some sunscreens only block one type of ray, the American Academy of Dermatology says oxybenzone is among the few FDA-approved ingredients able to block both. For those concerned about the environment, there is some middle ground. Dr. Cronin says sunscreen is a small part of protecting ourselves from the sun. We should practice seeking shade, wearing sunglasses, and wearing other sun protective clothing. That's it for this week's World News. Back to you guys at the desk.
When we come back in entertainment, the royal princess is seen visiting New York.
And Reese Witherspoon and her husband are raising the bar for relationship goals.
Avery, I really hoped everyone stayed safe out there in the snow and ice and all of that mess, but it does look like we're gonna warm it up a little bit.
You know, it's nice, and I think about that, but then all the snow's gonna melt. It's just gonna be muddy and gross, and that's gonna be rough on the weekend too.
Let's send it over to Jillian with this week's weather.
Well, guys, we just had yet another day off from classes due to snow. And let me tell you, I'm starting to get a little bit worried that they're going to start tacking on those days in May. But let's just move on to see what Mother Nature has in store for us for this week. Tonight, we're going to get a low of 30 with a few clouds in the sky. And then tomorrow, we're going to get some sun, but temperatures are going to stay a little bit lower with a high of 40 and a low of 28. We're not going to see any snow this weekend, but we will get some rain. On Saturday, we're going to get a high of 40 and a low of 37. And then on Sunday, that rain will continue into the morning, but it'll hopefully stop by midday with a high of 58 and low of 31. Hopefully for the rest of the time, we'll see nothing but clear sky and sunshine for Monday with a high of 42. But of course, it's going to get a little bit colder with a low of 19. Tuesday will stay sunny with a little more clouds at a high of 44 and a low of 34. And then finally for Wednesday, there's going to be a very, very, very small chance for some morning snow. But for the rest of the day, it will mostly just be cloudy with a high of 51 and a low of 24. So moving forward, although temperatures are going to stay a little bit lower, I'm just happy to see that some sunshine is coming our way and the snow is going to stay away. And that'll be it for weather. Let's take it to entertainment with Michael Smith.
Meghan Markle made a surprise visit to New York City this past week for her secret baby shower. A source tells ET that this trip is also for catching up with some friends back home. She had 10 to 15 of her closest friends attend this event, one of those friends being Serena Williams. The shower was said to happen this past Tuesday, but a source says it may be Wednesday instead. The royal couple is expecting their child this spring. It's only February, but 2019 might be the year for engagements and weddings. There have been huge stars who got engaged or secretly married so far. Orlando Bloom and Katy Perry got engaged on Valentine's Day when she posted a picture with a one-of-a-kind ring. Miranda Lambert got secretly married to Brendan McLaughlin. This one was shocking since most people didn't even know they were dating. There were many others who tied the knot this year, including Chris Pratt getting engaged to Katherine Schwarzenegger, Mariah Brown is engaged to Audrey Chris, Jennifer Lawrence engaged to Cook Maroney, and many more. Last week, fans were finally able to take a look at the long-awaited sequel to the Frozen 2 trailer released on Thursday. The trailer saw the return of Elsa and Anna and the rest of the gang and showed off how the characters have grown after the events of the first movie. Not much is known about the plot of the movie, except that it plans to showcase a much darker story compared to the original. Frozen 2 will premiere in November, so be sure to reserve your seats and not let them go. Last Sunday, Reese Witherspoon scored big time with the Harlem Globetrotters. While sitting in courtside seats with her husband and their 10-year-old son, Witherspoon was whisked onto the court by one of the players. After a short dance-off with number 12, Ant Atkinson, Witherspoon's husband, Jim, was called onto the court to join her. Before the couple knew it, they had the center spotlight, and the whole team serenaded them with My Girl. Let's take a look. Witherspoon and the Globetrotters both posted on their Instagram accounts about the experience. That's it for entertainment. Let's send it off to the desk.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm very excited for Frozen 2. I'm a little nervous about it.
It's a good movie.
It's hard to live up to the first one.
It is.
Well, Jake, what's going on with sports?
Well, coming up in sports, men's and women's basketball was home over the weekend against Lock Haven, so we have the highlights for you. And take a look at this. Where are all the swimmers at? Oh, that's right. It's conference week, Bella. We have the highlights from day one of the PSAC Swimming Championships when we return. Day one of the PSAC Swimming Championships kicked off yesterday, and after one day of competition, the men are in 5th place and the women are in 6th. Individually, both the men and the women have some standout performances. For the men, junior Jeff Beyer found himself on the podium after placing 2nd in the 1,000-yard freestyle with a personal best time of 9 minutes 33 seconds. And on the women's side, senior Claire Coons qualified for the finals in the 50-yard freestyle with a personal best time of 24.15 seconds. She placed tied for 7th in the finals later that day. The men and the women competed today and will be in action both Friday and Saturday as well to finish off the conference meets. In men's basketball, they were home over the weekend against Lock Haven. Shippensburg playing good ball and trying to continue that into the playoffs, which starts in a few weeks. And this game was all Ship from the start. Let's pick it up in the first half. Manny Spann gets the offensive rebound. He's going to find Jake Biss. And Biss, well, he's going to bury the 3. Raiders were up 9-0 early. Still in the first half, Antonio Kellum's going to grab the loose ball. He's going to pull up here from 3. Yes, sir. And Ship is up 33 at half. In the second half, Carlos Carter is going to jump through the roof of Higas Fieldhouse here on this alley-oop dunk. Slam it home, young man. Later in the half, Jake Biss once again is going to pull up from 3, and he nails it. And Shippensburg, they're going to hit the century mark in this blowout win. Final score 100-75.
Jordy.
PSAC East Athlete of the Week for his performances against Millersville and Lock Haven. Biss averaged 23.5 points, 3 assists, and shot over 60% from three-point range in the 2 games. Biss and the team are looking to keep up the good play and keep it going right into PSAC playoffs, which starts in a few weeks.
I think our chemistry's there. It grew throughout the season. Wasn't really there at the beginning, but now I think it's really there. And just right now, just hope to finish out the regular season as strong as possible.
The men will be on the road Saturday at Mansfield. And women's basketball faced off against Lock Haven at home Saturday as well, and it would not be an easy game for them. Sophomore Ariel Jones was sidelined and in a boot, so the Raiders would have to find another way to score some points. But scoring points would be a little struggle for them in this game. We pick it up in the first half, and on a fast break, Margarita Kilpatrick, how about that name, takes it all the way and finishes with the layup. Ship would be down 22 at halftime, however. Second half now, Lauren Mills is going to pull up from 3. She makes that. And Ship, they're trying to make a comeback. Late in the half, Gianna Locker is going to get her on the board here, this beauty shot. But Ship struggled to find an answer for Lock Haven's offense, and Ship loses 65-50. As mentioned before, Ariel Jones was injured last week at home against Millersville, and what was an ankle injury. Jones missed Saturday's home game against Lock Haven. Now, there are other productive players on this team, but when you lose a player like Ariel Jones, you're going to want to have her come back as soon as possible. Head coach Chrissy Turn gives us an update on how Jones is doing and what her status is for this weekend's game against Mansfield.
Yeah, it's day to day. I mean, we're just not sure. We're going to see if she can go with any contact practice tomorrow, and it'll probably be a game time decision on Saturday morning as to how she feels and if she feels she can, plant, move, do the things that she does because she's such a dynamic player out there. We don't want to put her in a position that could cause more harm, but it'll be a game day decision.
The Raiders are looking to make it to the playoffs, and it starts hopefully getting Ariel Jones back this weekend at Mansfield. Well, from one productive player to another, Umbriel Green was crowned once again PSAC East Freshman of the Week. Green had to step up her game even more with the absence of Jones, and she did just that. Green averaged 17.5 points, 5.5 rebounds, and 3 blocks against Millersville and Lock Haven. And Green and the rest of the team, well, they knew they would have to step up with Jones being sidelined.
We just knew that we had to work more together as a team, like being that she's one of the offensive players that gets the most points, so we had to work together and move the ball more, and I knew I had to step up and try to dominate the paint like I usually do, so it was definitely hard not having her, but it was a learning lesson to how we have to work without her sometimes.
And for you stat checkers out there, this is now the 5th time this year that Umbriel Green has been named PSAC East Freshman of the Week, so congrats to Green once again. Well, it's PSAC Championship Week not only for swimming, but for track and field as well. Let's start with the men. The men look to continue the streak of consecutive PSAC Indoor Championships, and they will be doing it a little different this year than past years. The men have a strong underclassmen group that will score more points than they have in past years, but for head coach Dave Osanich, it's all about doing your job.
Yeah, the men's side, it's going to be an exciting weekend. Really the philosophy on the men's side to do your job. If we do our job, I think the results are going to be really good. So I think if we just kind of go event by event and people do what I expect them to do and step up in the training that they've done, put it together, I think we're going to have a really good result on the men's side.
And on the women's side, they'll have a much closer meet compared to the men.
I think it's going to be really exciting as a fan to watch. I think it's going to be a real old-fashioned shootout. I think there's 3 teams that legitimately have a shot, and thankfully we're one of them. I think Slippery Rock and Kutztown and Ship are all really evenly matched. It's going to be the race for 100, we're going to call it, because I think if you score 100 points as a team this weekend, I think you're going to win the conference championship.
The men and women will compete at the PSAC Indoor Championships at Edinburgh this weekend, starting Friday and finishing up the meet on Sunday. Let's go to professional sports. NBA All-Star Weekend festivities was this past weekend, including Team LeBron and Team Giannis facing off in Sunday's All-Star Game. Here's Stephon Wilson with the highlights.
68th NBA All-Star Game kicked off Sunday honoring Dirk Nowitzki and Dwayne Wade. There were a lot of amazing plays that took place, including alley-oops from George to Giannis, a 360 dunk from Paul George, and a spectacular dunk from Stephen Curry to Giannis.
Here's Curry with a high bounce pass.
We got to witness connections from former teammates as Wade throws an off-the-backboard oop to LeBron James, and Kyrie hooks up with James as well on an alley-oop.
Behind Curry on that last play.
KD heated up in the end to help Team LeBron pull away, earning him an All-Star MVP.
For 2019.
Stephon Wilson, SUTV Sports.
Well, the All-Star Weekend also included the Skills Challenge, three-point competition, and the dunk contest. Well, that's it for sports. Let's send it back to the desk.
When we come back, the makers of Keurig are shaking it up with a new Brutiful blend.
Well, a different kind of brew from the makers of Keurig. DrinkWorks Home Bar makes cocktails. Similar to the Keurig coffee and tea pods, the DrinkWorks pods contain wine and liquor to make everybody's favorite drinks. Even though the DrinkWorks machine hit stands last year in St. Louis, the company is hoping to expand their supply to the entire state of Missouri and Florida by this summer. The company says customers must be of legal age to buy the pods online and in stores. So, until you're 21, you'll just have to stick to the coffee and tea machine we all know. Sounds pretty cool,
Sounds pretty
right?
good to me.
Let's bring it over to PA.
Yeah,
I want
how
to
about
try
it?
that out.
We're probably next on that.
That's it for SUTV News. I'm Avery Quinn.
And I'm Isabella Marcelino. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at SUTV News, and check out our website, sutvnews.com.
We'll see you next time.